mark on rally.
So who will it be in 1983? Greg Carr of Canberra with the navigator Fred Casentis in the Fiat 131. There's the time ticking away on the top right-hand side of the screen, and we have in fact got a microphone in the car with Greg Carr.
Coming up this stuff here. The 90 metres spare right.
So we can hear the voice of Fred Casentis. Certainly a lot of pressure on him as the navigator of this Fiat 131 Abarth.
Around this corner.
To that tight right-hander.
Yeah, that's absolutely flat. Yeah, absolutely flat. That's it.
David, you can hear Fred Casentis calling absolutely flat to Greg Carr. That means he wants to keep the car flat out, full acceleration.
So there's the split, 1 minute, 2.1 seconds. And what we'll be looking at for a good time for the 2.6 kilometres.
I think, David, somewhere around the 2-minute 10 to 2-minute 20 mark will be a very, very fast time here. I think certainly anything under 2 minutes 10 could well be the winning time.
So obviously the man from Canberra, Greg Carr, the man that performed so well in Perth, off to a flying start here at Mt Coot-Tha.
2 tenths turn hard right, up to the Hardie side. Coming up to this, turn hard right. Then
So did that tight right-hander again. 142.6 as they came into that bend. Now the final stages. Greg Carr certainly handling the conditions well here at the moment.
Keep right and fresh.
That was a very rough dip the car goes through there, David. One of the toughest sections on the cars, and in fact you can hear the noise underneath the car, which is all the stones being thrown up on the under tray, and these cars certainly take a pounding.
Well, he's going to do very, very well indeed. 207, 209.
Keep going, keep going.
So what are your thoughts on that, Cole? The first car away, 2:18.
Well, 2 minutes 18, but you heard Fred Casentis saying keep going, keep going. At the end, Greg Carr stopped short of the timing marker, and it's cost him a few seconds, I think.
Well, that could be very costly. Well, the next man away is Colin Bond, 41 years of age, and what a magnificent performance he's had all round in motorsport in Australia. He's navigated today, one of the real personalities too, Cole, of Australian motor racing.
Certainly is John Dawson Damer, in fact the Honourable John Dawson Damer, an English gentleman who now lives in Sydney, who collects fine old motor cars. In fact, he has one of the best collections of old Formula One Grand Prix cars, including the ex-Graham Hill Lotus championship winning Formula One car.
Well, Colin Bond, probably the most popular competitor in Australia, and what a magnificent record he's had. As Cole pointed out earlier, that unique record in Australian motorsport. The only driver to win at Bathurst, that was in 1969. He's won touring car championships and also 3 rally championships in 1971, 72 and 74. So we'll be looking with great interest as to his time here this afternoon.
And this is the section of the course that Colin Bond said was the fastest, and where he expected to make up a lot of time in his Triumph TR7 V8, coming around out of this tight corner now and up this very steep climb where you can hear his powerful V8 really accelerating very fast. And I spoke to Colin Bond just prior to the start of this stage. Colin Bond, you're driving the most powerful car on the rally, a Triumph TR7 V8. Can you get fastest time in this Mt Coot-Tha Quarry stage?
Well, I hope so, Cole, because I've got a couple of dollars on side bets with a few other drivers, but the car should go up here extremely well. It puts its power down, and as you said, it's a very powerful motor car, and I'm sure we can be the quickest car as long as I don't muck up any of these hairpin corners, which is easy to do. We haven't driven the car that much in the forest. It's a new car. It does everything very well. It puts its power down, it turns in nicely, and it's got plenty of horsepower and plenty of speed. So we're very confident, you know, even though probably we haven't done the miles in the forest that some of the other people have done.
So one of the real popular men of Australian rallying, Colin Bond of Sydney, in action at his Triumph TR7 V8, and certainly looking as though he's going pretty well here, Cole.
It certainly does, going very, very fast, and Colin Bond, like Ross Dunkerton, celebrating 21 years in motorsport, but still really enjoys it, as you can see, throwing that car around and having a great deal of fun. Well, Colin Bond across the finish line for the end of his run through the Mt Coot-Tha Quarry special stage, and that certainly was a lot faster than when he started out in rallying in 1964, driving a VW 1200 in the Round Australia trial.
Well, the next man away in car 3 is Wayne Bell. His navigator is David Boddy, and these two have been together, Cole, for quite a while. There's great teamwork with these two drivers.
Certainly are, David, both originally from Newcastle, Wayne Bell and David Boddy, and in fact Wayne Bell drove in Peter Brock's Repco Around Australia Trial Commodore team in 1979. In fact, he was the second place in the Repco Around Australia Trial, and that was part of a clean sweep of 1, 2, 3 by the Holden dealer team in Commodores during the Repco trial. So certainly experience is one of Wayne Bell's fortes.
Well, I wonder if history will repeat itself, because the best result for these two was in the Queensland round of the Australian Championship just last year when they filled second spot.
Certainly, and it was a great drive by Wayne Bell last year in this event. In fact, last year he drove a Commodore in the rally, but has switched to a Toyota for this year. But certainly Wayne Bell, over the last few years, has been one of the bright young lads of Australian rallying.
Well, what could you tell us about the vehicle he's in, Cole, the Toyota T18? It's a 2-litre with the twin cam and fuel injection, isn't it?
It is, David. In fact, you don't see a lot of these cars in rallying, but with the 2-litre twin cam engine, it has a great deal of performance, particularly for these short stages.
Well, let's get the thoughts of Wayne Bell as he completes this course here at Mt Coot-Tha.
Wayne Bell, you drove a Commodore in the Queensland round last year to finish third outright. This year you've switched to a Toyota. What do you think your chances are?
Hopefully, I think they'll be a little better. The car is much smaller, obviously, and much more nimble through the tighter forestry stages. The first stage here at the quarry will possibly suit Colin in the V8 and a couple of more powerful cars. But I think when we get into the forest, our little car will be right up there with them. And I'm looking for a good result this year. This is an excellent day for this event. The sun's shining and everything, and I hope it's not too wet in the forest. But if it is, mud won't worry me at all. I like the mud, so we'll see what happens.
Well, Cole, the split by Wayne Bell as compared to Greg Carr was some 5 seconds slower.
Yes, it was, and that was to just before the halfway mark. So certainly Wayne Bell not as impressive as Greg Carr early in this stage. But let's see if he can pick it up as he comes up now to the finish line. 2 minutes 18. He's outside of Greg Carr's time, and let's just see what Wayne Bell completes the time. He's going to be about 5 or 6 seconds slower than Greg Carr. 2 minutes 26.3 for Wayne Bell.
2:26.4 times winner of the Australian Championship and 2 times winner, Cole, of the Queensland Rally Championship.
Certainly, David. We're just having a look now through the results of winners of this Queensland round. Ross Duncan has been successful here twice in 1975 and 79. The last 2 years won by, last year Greg Carr, the year before by Jeff Portman.
Well, we're joined in our commentary position now by the man we saw in action a few moments ago, Colin Bond. Colin, 2:19, 1 second outside Greg Carr. Were you pleased with that performance?
Well, we were pleased. I mucked up the last corner, actually. Other than that, everything went very well.
Well, with this man, Ross Duncan, both 21 years in the business. There's a bit of a battle going on there about age, I believe, Cole.
He's got to be my age. He's been around as long as I have.
Well, Ross Duncan and Cole is renowned as a wet weather specialist. Just how will he handle this, the dry conditions here today at Mt Coot-Tha?
He'll go well, actually, because, you know, Ross loves competing in these sort of events, and he's overdone a little bit there, but he loosely drives with a lot of skill and a lot of zest.
Ross Duncan, of course, driving the car owned by David Courtling. A little bit of Queensland flavour there. David, of course, from Maroochydore, a real estate agent up there, and I believe, Cole Young, that they both enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, they certainly do. I believe they've had a bit of time to catch up with each other this week in training for the rally. And actually, it's an interesting entry. Ross Duncan, and as we said earlier, making a late entry for this event. And it's good to see some Queenslanders getting behind it to make it possible for him to come over. David Courtling and Hugh Campbell from Caloundra providing the car, and Dennis McGreevy Datsun providing a bit of support to help Ross come over.
So let's now get a comparison of times. We saw the split of Carr at 62 and of Bell of 67, and that's 1 minute 10. Cole Young caught up with Ross Duncan before this drive.
Ross Duncan, and you're the 4-time Australian rally champion and the man everybody wants to beat. You've won the Queensland round of the championship twice in the past. Can you do it a third time?
Well, Colin, I think the field today is exceptionally good, and I would rate our car at about 9th or 10th in the horsepower stakes, but our particular little car, I think how I won these championships was reliability and being there at the finish. That's the name of the game, and we hope to be there at the end of the finish.
And what about when you get up into the forestry stages later tonight?
Well, tonight I prefer driving at night rather than the daylight. I think you'll find that Colin Bond will be the man to watch in the daylight. But as you get older, you start to slow down, and Colin is slowing down at night, but I'm still there.
Well, Colin, that's a cheeky comment from a man that celebrates his 37th birthday today.
True. I just watched him around that last corner. He's tuned in too early, lost a fair bit of time. When I say a fair bit of time, it's only seconds a day, but seconds are things that count. But other than that, Ross is going extremely well. He's throwing the car around. It obviously hasn't got a lot of horsepower, but he's certainly making the most of it.
Well, as he comes up to the final stage, you see the clock ticking away there. The best time so far, by our calculation, is 2:18 by Greg Carr. And there is 2:29, virtually 2:30 for Ross Dunkerton. So the split was a little bit slower, Col Young, and also the finishing time.
Yeah, certainly. I think David Ross lost a little bit of time on a couple of those corners, as Colin Bond mentioned, running a little bit wide.
Well, here's one for the Queenslanders now, car 5. Peter Phillips of Holland Park here in Brisbane, and his navigator, also a Queenslander from Toowoomba, the youngest navigator in the field, Peter Young, at only 19 years of age. And they've got quite an impressive record, the 1982 Queensland Rally champions, the Curry Motors Rally Championship in 1982, also won the Springwood Rally, the Kipper Ring Rally, came third, or in fact they came second in that Mazda Springwood Rally, and fourth in the Kmart Rally at Townsville, also last year.
Yes, David, a great local combination, and Peter Phillips is widely regarded as the up-and-coming man probably in Queensland, and I would say national rallying at this stage, because he's just been promoted to a national classified driver. In fact, today's his first run as a national classified driver, but Peter Phillips and Peter Young last year won the Queensland Championship, and a very well-experienced team, very conversant with local conditions.
Colin, the conditions down there today, would you have liked to have seen just a little bit of rain on that track?
No, I think the track's perfect, actually. They've graded it very well. There's enough moisture in the track to keep the dust down, so that the spectators obviously are not getting covered in dust. It just couldn't be better. Well, we see the split here, David, 62.9 for Peter Phillips. Now, Greg Carr's split was 62.1 seconds, so here we see Peter Phillips, Colin Bond, just 0.8 of a second slower to the halfway mark than Greg Carr. Well, it's very good indeed. He was a little bit slow coming out of that last corner. We don't know how much time he lost on that, but we had a rally school in Queensland some years ago now, and he attended it. And at the time, we sort of said that he showed a lot of promise and would be probably one of the guys to survive and get ahead in the sport.
Well, Peter Phillips, of course, regarded as Queensland's fastest rally driver, and on that split, certainly very, very competitive here this afternoon. 1:02.9 was the split. And certainly throwing down the gauntlet to some of the more experienced drivers here this afternoon.
Would be a big surprise, David, if Peter Phillips can come out and do a faster time than Colin Bond and Greg Carr here this afternoon, and that would give him a lot of confidence for the forestry stages later tonight.
Of course, Peter in the Datsun 1600. He's a member of the Brisbane Car Club.
Coming up to the finish line now, he's got the right-hand corner here. He's looking very good. He's just over Greg Carr's time through 2:19. Oh, he's lost a couple of seconds there. A last-minute slide, a little bit disappointing, I think, for Peter, but he's stopped the clocks at 2:20.